Wallabies needed a response after last week's record loss to the All Blacks in Sydney, and we saw it. Their run at Suncorp, the good record there, goes on. 24 points to 22. I will go over the key stats, moments, and thoughts on this game. And as always, you guys let me know your thoughts, how you think things went. It started off with a bit of a hiss and a roar, to be fair. The Wallabies were looking attacking and looking fluid early. It was a bit of helter-skelter stuff. And they scored after like 2 minutes through Tom Wright. One of the few guys to actually have a good experience on his debut. He scored a try. It was a little set play move from a line-out. They kicked it through. I think it was Banks that regathered it, offloaded it to Tom Wright, who won't score a heap of easier tries than that one. Pretty, right place, right time. And they missed the conversion, though. Relatively easy one. But Hodge has always been a distance man, never been 100% accurate in terms of his kicking. Hell of a distance, I'm saying. But, 5-0 early to the Wallabies. You're thinking, man, that's a good start. They needed that after last week. They've already equaled the amount of points they scored last week. Is 2 points going to be costly, given that was a very kickable conversion? Maybe we'll see. The All Blacks bounced back, a bit of fluidity, their own heap of phases. And the Wallabies were kind of scrambling. They did manage to knock back Laumape's pass, but it was knocked backwards, so the All Blacks still managed to regather it. And Rico Ioane managed to go over for the try on the left wing. Still scoring those tries the same way. That guy ain't changing for nobody. Whether you love him or hate him, his one-handed try-scoring style, which for the most part doesn't cause any problems, but in one particular game caused a lot of problems, that is here to stay. Let's hope it doesn't cost us again, but certainly didn't this week in terms of that one, even if it was still a losing effort for the All Blacks. The Wallabies were having to make a heap of tackles, to be fair. But they were making the tackles. Whereas the All Blacks weren't making that many tackles, but they were missing a few. It was a bit of a weird one. A bit of a turnaround from last week anyway. Wallabies managed to kick a penalty on 21 minutes to make it 8-5, so back in front. And then about a minute later, Ofa Tuangafasi, he gets red carded for a high shot on that debutant again, Tom Wright. It's a kind of shoulder to his chin, and it's a red card. Now, people might complain about that red card. They might complain about the ref. But if you know me and you know this channel, you know I watch a lot of rugby, and the way the law is written and interpreted these days, that's a red card all day long. I don't have any qualms about it. I know people say it should be a yellow. Whatever. Basically, maybe a few years ago that was a yellow, but nowadays that's a red. That's just the way they ref it. Unless there's like mitigating factors of like the dude slipping or something, it's a red, man. And sure enough, the All Blacks go down a man. So at that point, you're thinking maybe a bit of pressure on Australia to guarantee they get a win. They're in front and they've got an extra man. How are they going to cope with this mentally? Not that well, because they actually seem to go back a gear once they had the extra man. There was a bit of handbags between James Slipper and Sam Cane. I think Slipper gave Sam Cane a bit of extra treatment at one particular clean out, and Sam Cane didn't appreciate it, and he returned the favour. Which I'm a little bit disappointed with in Sam Cane, to be honest, because people mentioned it in the live chat. If you're the captain, you need to be seemingly unflappable. You can be as pissed off as you want on the inside. You can grab a guy by the jersey, but you don't want to be seen to be a walkover, a pushover, but you can't really retaliate. And he was edging towards that retaliation tactic, and you put a target on your back if you do that, man. People see that you can be provoked. So you still got to stand up for yourself, but you got to do it pretty carefully as the captain. The referee makes a smart call and just calls over both the captains to tell them to pull their heads in. To be honest, I would have preferred he called in Slipper and Kane and just said, both of you guys cut it out. And if there's one criticism I would have of the ref, in this game. He probably needed to get a bit more control of the game early instead of letting a bit of stuff go. But the fact that he let stuff go made for a pretty interesting contest. Like, this game wasn't that pretty at times, but man, it was entertaining for virtually the whole 80, apart from some periods with some scrum resets and whatnot. And I should say it was absolutely piddling down here in Auckland, and in the first half my signal cut out for a good at least 5 minutes of the game, probably a bit more. So we were getting the rain fade thing, so that is what it is. After the handbags, there's a Wallabies period of pressure, according to the people in the chat that I didn't see because they had the rain fade. All Blacks turn it over. Wallabies get a scrum. Somehow Sam Kane manages to get an intercept from the Wallabies attacking play out of the back of that scrum. So that's some hell of anticipation from him. And eventually Geordie Barrett gets an equalising penalty for the All Blacks on 33 to make it 8 points apiece. And the Wallabies start conceding a bunch of penalties. They are under the pump a bit. And Korobiti's the man who gets yellow carded eventually. It's just too many penalties. He's the victim of it, but, you know, it's a team one. Like I'm saying, like, he gave away one penalty. That penalty on its own doesn't deserve a yellow card, but the way the game was going was. All Blacks try to turn the screw with the extra man. Have I missed the other red card? Did I not write a note about it? I've missed the red card at 34. Before Korobiti gets his yellow card, Lockie Swinton gets red carded. Apparently, I didn't find that noteworthy. Swinton hits Sam Whitelock in a high shot, very similar to the way Tuangafasi hit Tom Wright. It's shoulder to the head. There's no mitigation. The fact that Sam Whitelock's a giant, so if you're hitting him high, I know he's bracing for a tackle or for a hit, but man, you got to be hitting him pretty high to be hitting Sam Whitelock high. Red card on debut, which is not ideal. And some of the debutants didn't have the best time because if you think about it, Tuangafasi goes off. They got to bring Lomax on to replace him. Who goes off? Akira Ioane on his debut. So for some of the debutants, it wasn't the best time. But yeah, so red card apiece, and then the Wallabies go down to 13 with Korobiti getting yellow carded. All Blacks try to turn the screws, like I mentioned. They put them under a bit of pressure. They're 5 meters out, but then they, after like third attempt, they get a line out 5 meters out, and the Wallabies steal it. So they get out of jail, and they go into the sheds, 8 points apiece. The All Blacks have had 59% possession, 61% territory, and yet the Wallabies are dominating the run meters, 223 to 146. They have looked dangerous on the counter, man. Turnovers conceded, though, worryingly for the Wallabies. It's 6-3, so they've had less ball, and yet they're coughing it up. Their tackling percentage, though, was solid at 83% at the first half. The All Blacks were at 77, which is only a 6% difference, but it's poor. Below 80, man, that's bad. You're missing more than 1 in 5. So, yeah, not a good look. But the Wallabies had to make more. They made 70 to the All Blacks 43. So, yeah, the Wallabies were under a bit of the pump. Second half starts. The Wallabies kick a penalty towards the end of that yellow card period. So, they actually win the yellow card. The All Blacks get the extra man. They look disjointed. It's weird. It's like when before Swinton went off, but after Tuangafasi gone off, the Wallabies didn't look good. The All Blacks were the same. So that comes back to haunt the All Blacks a bit. They concede 3 points during a time when they had an extra man. Reece does go close from that kickoff, and it's one thing that's going to have Dave Rennie a bit worried. Every time they score points, the Wallabies seem to find a way to put themselves under a lot of pressure, which is not the sign of a winning team. It was good enough today, but it's something to work on. You want to be securing ball and exiting well. They weren't able to do that on many occasions. So, yeah, Reece down the right wing. He goes pretty close. They manage to tackle him, and they end up knocking the ball into touch, the Wallabies. So it's a 5 meter lineup for the All Blacks. They do not need much of an invitation because Cody Taylor goes on from a big maul from the All Blacks. And finally, after that good drive, the All Blacks are actually in front for the first time in ages. So it's 15-11 to the ABs. The Wallabies on 57 win a big scrum penalty, and they look pretty pumped. It's Tupou who's come on, and Tupou makes a big difference when he comes on, to be fair. Brings it within a point. It's 15 points to 14. Hodge does miss one from like halfway on 64 minutes. That big boot of his doesn't have the accuracy of some guys, even if he's got more distance than many. And on 67, like I know, again, because there's been red cards, because there's been yellow cards, people are going to be pissed off at the ref. But if you're an All Blacks fan who's feeling particularly angry at the result of this game, some of that needs to be directed at Scott Barrett, because he gets a yellow card on 67 minutes for he's in the middle of a ruck. He just needs to wait for the ball to get clear, roll over, stand up, and get back into the line. He decides to stick his big mitt in where it doesn't belong as Nick White's picking up the ball. It's just a stupid, cynical penalty. It's a yellow card all day long. For that kind of stupid, cynical stuff, you always get yellow carded. And you can kind of justify it if you're thinking, man, if Nick White gets that pass away, it's a try for all money. It wasn't. He didn't need to do it. It's a brain fart moment. So he gets yellow carded. The Wallabies managed to kick a penalty a few minutes later, so they go back in front, 17 points to 15. That's 3 points during the yellow card. And then about 5 minutes later, Taniela Tupou gets a try. The Wallabies go like 12 phases. They're actually able to build some phases. They've got the extra man, so there's a bit of space there. The All Blacks are actually doing a pretty good job of containing the extra space. But the Wallabies get themselves into a position of being about a metre out, and Tupou doesn't need much room. He finds himself up against a couple of backs, and he just is able to chuck himself over the line. The yellow card finishes, and to be fair, the All Blacks do, despite the fact that they look dead and buried, they manage to get themselves back into it. And again, it's the Wallabies conceding points virtually straight after scoring points, because Va'i gets a try. That's got to be his first test try. They were just able to strike straight back down the other end. Gets the 24 points to 22. All Blacks have still got a chance with 30 seconds left. Wallabies kick the ball down. All Blacks are trying to run it out. I think Korobidi puts a good hit on D-Mac. And D-Mac gets the ball to Geordie, and he gets hit again. I think Korobidi's involved again after getting up off the ground quickly, and he knocks it on. Scrum. Lolosio kicks the ball out. Game over. Wallabies win. I should have mentioned Will Jordan did come on briefly. He took a knock from Korobidi, goes off for an HIA, doesn't come back. Not a night for guys on their debut. Akira goes off because of the red card to Tuangafasi. Swinton gets a red card himself. Will Jordan gets an HIA. I guess Gus Bell had a decent time of it. Tom Wright, but yeah, not the best one for everybody, you would have to say. But yeah, man, that's the game. So I don't know why there was so much talk about this one being a dead rubber. The Tri-Nations is still on. I know the Bledisloe's done, but people do know the Tri-Nations is on, right? Maybe that's a failure in Sanzar marketing. Final match stats, run meters 381 to 325. So the All Blacks actually managed to pull that area out in front. However, the Wallabies... Oh, no, actually, sorry, that was the Wallabies with the highest stat, but the All Blacks caught them up after being so far behind in the first half. The Wallabies managed to edge them in possession and territory after being down. So it's a weird one where the Wallabies were able to get more possession and territory, and the All Blacks more run meters. They kind of swapped roles from the first half, where the team with less ball seemed to be able to get more run meters. The Wallabies finished up with the lower tackling percentage. The All Blacks picked it up, but the All Blacks ended up making more tackles. So again, it's kind of a role reversal from that first half. Penalties conceded was 11 to 12, so it was actually almost even. The All Blacks conceded one more. A red card each, a yellow card each. I guess both sides will be happy with their lineouts. The Wallabies were 12 from 13. The All Blacks were 14 from 15. But that one they missed was pretty costly when you look at that scoreboard. So, yeah, All Blacks. I mean, as much as people are going to blame the ref, I look at the penalty count, the cards count. I don't think it's too bad, personally. I think it's all right. I'm happy with it, man. I'm not going to go down the ref blaming route. Scott Barrett's yellow card is dumb. And the All Blacks' inability to capitalise on that yellow card to the Wallabies earlier, that's where I would be looking, to be honest. Tom Wright, 57 run meters, a clean break, 2 defenders beaten, and a try. Pretty dangerous. Also, Sever Reese, 62 run meters, 3 clean breaks, 6 defenders beaten. Very, very dangerous as well. So, yeah, that's the final match between the All Blacks and the Wallabies for 2020. They've played each other a fair few times in quick succession. They'll now get a taste of Argentina. Argentina had a good win. I didn't see any of it, but a good win over the Wallabies kind of second team. I think today as well. So hopefully they are fit and raring to go because, yeah, man, that was a hell of a game. Weird game. Cards galore. A fair bit of TMO. Yeah, it was a weird one. But entertainment value, streets ahead of last week. Even if my team lost, and I'm pretty gutted for the guys, entertainment value is streets ahead of last week. So, yeah. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. How did you reckon it went? Key points, key moments. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.